Welcome back to Meals with Maria and episode 2 of Real Food, Real Budget Meal Prep. In our family, we're trying to avoid chemicals, seed oils, and refined sugar. So each week I try and put together some snacks and maybe meals or desserts for us that are things that we can eat instead of having processed foods and things that I can make at home to save us money. Today's meal prep is going to be a bit different where I'm going to do it over a course of 2 days because I just don't have all the time that I need in one day. And I thought this would be a really realistic approach to show you that sometimes you just don't have the time, and that's okay. You can kind of stretch that over multiple days and it will still work out. So I'm gonna work on a few things today. I'm gonna be making a dense bean salad for some lunches for myself, something I saw on Instagram that I thought looked delicious, and of course I'll put my own twist on it too. I'm also gonna be making some cheddar jalapeno protein bagels. And I'm gonna be getting started on some sourdough English muffins that will finish up in the morning. And with those protein bagels, I'm gonna be doing some breakfast prep. So making some bacon, egg, and cheeses up ahead of time that we can just warm up. And for dessert, I'm making homemade Reese's peanut butter eggs. And they're not Reese's peanut butter, they're just peanut butter chocolate eggs. In the essence of the fact that it's now April and Easter's coming up, so we're gonna make a sweet treat that you can enjoy without all of the chemicals and processed ingredients. To me, this is like an age-old recipe. These, I guess what you call protein bagels made with Greek yogurt, 3-ingredient bagels. But it's getting its revival now on the internet by saying the viral protein bagel, and people are making with cottage cheese too. So I guess that's like the excitement to begin with, that it's cottage cheese. Everybody loves cottage cheese. But today we're just gonna be using Greek yogurt. And maybe you can laugh at me because I have my cheesecloth with my Greek yogurt in it because I had regular yogurt. So I make my own yogurt by taking grass-fed milk and I just put it in the Instant Pot. I follow the instructions. Super easy and way cheaper when I was buying it. It's like $10 for a little jug this big for the grass-fed Greek yogurt. So making it is so much better. Anyway, I had regular yogurt. In order to make Greek yogurt, you just put it inside of your cheesecloth and you strain it. I'm actually just gonna slide this into this bowl to start, and that way I can get everything moved over. Oh boy. Saved it. Cloth now needs to be washed, easy peasy. And we have our Greek yogurt, which is so delish. I don't know, I would like to do 3 cups of this, but I don't know that I'm gonna have 3 cups. It is what it is. All right. There's 1, 2. This is pretty thick though. I'm gonna go do something crazy. I'm gonna try and just use regular yogurt. Since I know that I made this Greek yogurt, this homemade Greek yogurt, extra thick and creamy, let's just add some regular yogurt to it. No one's gonna know. All right, so I'm just gonna start by giving this a good mix. We can add in our dry ingredients. So 3 cups of flour. This is organic all-purpose flour that I recently found at Walmart for, it was like $5, which is half of the price that I was paying before. So I'm super happy. Now Walmart organic flour is where it's at until I find out something terrible about it, which could totally happen. And then we'll do 2 tablespoons of baking powder. And a lot of times I like to just add on my dry ingredients on top and then give them a good mix before I mix them into whatever wet is on the bottom. That makes any sense? That's the way that's my lazy way to avoid using 2 bowls, but also feeling like I'm getting everything thoroughly mixed together properly. So this should make a dough. You can see it's already coming together pretty good. It's a nice shaggy dough. So my boys have really been enjoying the sourdough bagels that I make. So I'm gonna see if they can tell that we did these differently. They're still a winner. So like sourdough bagels are amazing because they have the fermentation, but we're still using Greek yogurt, which has live active cultures, probiotics, and lots of protein. So both types of bagels are going to be good for you. Just put a little flour on our mat. A little sticky, but that's all right. Of course, I want to do this kind of like I would with like yeasted dough or something, but it's not really like that. It's more like a scone or something. It's flaky. All right, I forgot the salt. It happens to the best of us. So I'm gonna try and like knead it and we won't go too crazy. But like the salt I think is gonna be important. Whoopsies. This is gonna make 16 bagels. And whenever I'm working with something like this, I love to just go right down the middle. And so we're cutting it like a pie. So thirds, best you can. And luckily we don't work at a bakery, so we're not selling them to anybody. Bakery de Maria. So we're gonna roll this into a log and then shape it into a bagel. Nope. And they don't go together like perfectly, but it doesn't really matter. And I've just got my lined baking sheet. We'll put them on there. Roll and repeat. It does stink like compared to the sourdough bagels. Like the sourdough bagels are so beautiful. And when you make these, they're a little bit funky. Like they're not, you know, it's a totally different style of bread. So thinking about this, I'm like, I was right at first. I needed to cut them into 4s. I was making 16. So somehow I'm ending up with 12. They're just gonna be bigger bagels, and I'm not mad. That's fine. This is the life we're living over here. Living on the edge. All right, we're making cheddar jalapeno bagels. So I'm gonna slice up a jalapeno. I'm kind of torn because I could make them all cheddar jalapeno, or I could make just half of them. My concern is that I like the cheddar jalapeno, like that's what I want, and that's what Julian wants. But Tommy won't like that. He's 9. I have basically an egg wash in here. This is egg and a little bit of milk, which actually worked out very fortuitously. I made this by accident yesterday for something different, and I realized I was like, I don't need eggs. And so I put it in this little jar, and here we are, using it and kneading it. So it was as if I knew. So I'm just gonna start by basting all of these with this egg wash, and then we'll sprinkle on the cheddar cheese and the jalapenos. Now, the cheddar cheese it's a weird cheddar cheese. I ended up with it. It's a small batch, humanely raised cheddar cheese, but it's not grass-fed. So not something I normally get, but I am a budget cook like through and through. Like that's where everything started for me. Like I can't drop that. So ideally you want to use fresh grated raw grass-fed cheese. In this case, because I have this, I'm going to use it. Plus it's orange, so it'll look pretty with the green, but I would never buy it. I have it, so like I have to use it. Yeah, it's got potato starch and cellulose, but like we're gonna use it. I think the answer to my question of leaving some plain is that I'll leave 2 plain. And if he likes them, I'll just make him some more. But the rest can be yummy cheddar jalapenos for me and Julian. Now we're gonna make the dense bean salad. I'm using a 1/2 cup of minced parsley. And then I have some marinated red onion. You could also use like shallots in this, but I love marinated red onion and it's super easy to make. I'll make sure to put a quick recipe down in the description box for you. Just dice that up. That's a couple tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. I like the avocado mayonnaise, avocado oil mayonnaise. 2 tablespoons of olive oil, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, a tablespoon of cider vinegar, 2 teaspoons of caper juice, a teaspoon of honey, and then I mixed it up and realized, okay, we need a 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper and a teaspoon of dried oregano. And then taking out this kale, this is an organic green kale. Loving what I'm seeing here. There's almost no stems in it, which is really incredible. When you have kale, you really want to massage it before you eat it, and you'll be able to notice if there's any stems in there. If you have whole kale, you do want to go through and you want to cut out the centers like this. If it's big pieces, you're going to just use a knife and cut down the middle and cut that out because you're not going to want to eat those very much. But you need to massage it or else it's going to not taste very good. So you kind of break it down, make it more edible instead of this really intense crunch. It'll be softer and more delicious. You can see how it actually changed colors. Like it went to this darker green and it's so much softer now. I'm feeling it with my hands. Like it has so much more intensity when you first have it. And you can see it's actually a smaller amount. So I'm just gonna add this over here to my bowl. And I'm gonna massage some more. We'll still be left with quite a bit of kale, which is really nice because I can find something to do with that and I can roll that over into next week. I always try my best to use everything in my fridge and not waste. Saves a ton of money. As always, this full meal prep and recipes are on my app. The app is only $1.98 a month or $19.99 for the year. And even if you feel like it's not really your thing, it's an amazing way to support the channel. And I appreciate every single person that has, gone onto the app and is part of the Meals with Maria Plus community. You mean the world to me. And yeah, I love the app myself. I think it's an amazing resource, but if it's not something for you, just consider it as a way to say thank you for these wonderful videos. And I really, really appreciate that. So you can see our bowl is pretty full now, which is nice. You can throw away these stems. Actually, I'm gonna take these. I've been saving things. I'm gonna make a vegetable broth this weekend, so I'm gonna just put this in that bag. So I'm also gonna slice up a couple of scallions. We'll throw those in there. I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of capers, a little more, teaspoon. I'm gonna dice up a can of artichoke hearts. These are just the whole hearts. They're not marinated. Probably would taste fine marinated too, but simple. These guys are finally done. These took about 30 minutes and I think it was because I had them, they're larger, right? Usually they take about 25, but these are the big guys. I'm not gonna be mad because these are gonna be so good for breakfast sandwiches. And I really like how the jalapeno cooked up on this, so this is great. That's great. I'm gonna do about a third cup of sun-dried tomatoes on here with those juices. All right, I'm learning. I totally forgot. Like new things that you're like, wait, be careful. These sun-dried tomatoes, they have canola oil in them. So try and find some that don't, or we can try and omit them. But I think you can get like packages that aren't on the oils. So it's so hard to avoid everything. I've got a can of chickpeas drained and rinsed, and a can of navy beans drained and rinsed. And then I'm gonna do about, I don't know, half a cup of walnuts. These tongs were a little much, but I thought they were worthy of such a pretty salad. I will just have to wash them, do extra work so that I can see how beautiful this salad looks when you use special tongs. It's kind of one of those like hidden gems too, because like the more you dig in it, the more you find stuff. So I'm just gonna end up putting these into meal prep containers, and this is gonna be my lunch for the week. But wow, this is really delicious. This couldn't be more hearty, more nutrient dense. Super happy. Next up, I'm making sourdough English muffins, and these have to be made overnight. So I'm starting them in the evening, and then we'll get finished with them the next morning. All right, my starter is wild right now. It's ready to go. This is my rice flour. No, this is my starter, but like, whoa, so frothy. All right, we're doubling the recipe tonight. I'm gonna make a total of 16, and this time I really will make 16, not 12. So I need 200 grams of active starter, 40 grams of honey, 480 grams of milk, 10 grams of salt. I'm gonna give this a quick mix and then we'll get the flour in here. We're gonna do 720 grams of all-purpose, oh my goodness, flour. And then you can either mix this by hand, or if you have one of these dough mixers, you can use it. Not that I don't use my hands quite a bit, but they literally get dried out from so much flour. And so when I do have the opportunity to use this and it's clean, I'll use it. And that just comes in the sourdough kit that I got. Like, it's just like a little starter kit. It's in my Amazon store. And it has a banneton for baking sourdough, and it also has this dough mixer and a bench scraper. And I think it came with a lathe, which is like what you would cut sourdough with, but for some reason I lost mine. I feel like it never had it, honestly. So yeah, this is good. This is good dough to start with. And we're gonna let this rest for 30 to 60 minutes. For me, it's 9 o'clock, so it's gonna be 30 minutes. So you can do this by hand, but I'm just gonna put it in my mixer with the dough hook attachment, which I love. It makes everything super easy. It's been, well, it's probably like 45 minutes. And I'm just gonna put this on low for 5 minutes. I'm just gonna set a timer, we're gonna let it go. Then we're gonna cover it. And in the morning, we will do more. Okay, it's the morning. This is doubled really nicely. I am just going to pour it out onto this floured surface. This isn't like the ideal surface right now, but it's what we're working with because time is short and I don't have time to wash and dry everything for my actual baking mat. And that's just real life, and that's okay. These are not fancy pans, but they'll do. We're just gonna put some cornmeal out on the bottom of this. This is just gonna be for rising, so I'm not gonna cook. So you wanna get it as even as possible and just do it with your hands. We're gonna make, like I said, 16 of these. Let's get it right. I bought this little cookie cutter thing. This is the easiest way to cut your English muffins. As flat as you can. It's not gonna be perfect. And you know, all your English muffins are not gonna be perfectly sized and perfectly like the same. And as I always say, we're not running a bakery here. It's just the home. I'm not selling these. So if they're not perfect, it doesn't really matter. So we're just gonna let these rise for like an hour. You wanna make sure they're covered so they don't get crusty. And then I have in the past, and I'm probably gonna do it right now because I'm gonna head to the gym, but you can actually, once they rise or close to it, you can put them in the fridge and that will kind of slow down that rise. So I'm not gonna be able to cook them up at this exact moment, but I'm gonna let them rise until I leave in about 30 minutes. Then I'm gonna put them in the fridge, and then when they come back out, they will proof up again, and they'll be perfect for cooking. For day 2 of meal prep, but you can totally do this in one day, I'm going to get started with some eggs in the oven. So I've never done this before. I'm excited to give it a shot. We're gonna take 12 eggs and we're gonna cook them on, all right, I wish I had like a nicer sheet pan, but I'm gonna use this sheet pan. My goal is to get these eggs going while I am cooking the English muffins, because those have been out of the fridge. They are very much ready to be cooked. Right, so these are heated to like a medium low. You do need the covers. Because I'm doing so many, I like to do 2 pans. And I'll just make sure that on both sides I get a little bit of cornmeal because it'll help keep these from sticking. Put 4 in each pan and then cook them for 4 minutes and then flip them. It's cool, like the cornmeal actually does work. You don't need to put anything in the bottom of the pans. And then while that was cooking, I just cracked in the rest of my 12 eggs and whisked those up and just added about a tablespoon of milk to that. We're just gonna spray this really well and hope for the best because it's really gonna be the best plan of attack. Just when you think you have like everything's brand new, suddenly years pass and it's not brand new anymore. Weird how that works. Be so careful. Pay attention to the eggs and not to the camera. Oh yeah, look at that. Watch out, Thomases. Okay, if I can actually flip it. I'll admit, sometimes I just use my hands because I don't really want to scratch the bottom of this, but I don't have a better. I used to have some wooden tongs. Those were cool, but they got wrecked. Might be needing to move to cast iron. All right, we're covering for another 4 minutes. Yep, doing my thing with my hands. It's like chef stuff, you know? They look pretty good. They're super puffy. Love it. I'll make sure to open one up for you guys so you can see the nooks and crannies because they're amazing and you don't even have to split them, like they automatically split, which is so crazy. Like, how does that even work? Because my thought was that you'd have to like fold them in half to make them break in half, but that is not the case. Sorry for the shaky hands. All right, let's do the rest. Check on those eggies. Oh, they're cooking up nice. Cooking up nice. And then I just laid out the bagels to get them prepped for the bagel sandwiches and sliced them in half. All right, I'm supposed to wait longer, but I can't help myself. So they're still a little, but look, I just pull it open with my hands. See those nooks and crannies? Oh, like, whoa. I like them like this. Just put some butter on it. I'll show you. I feel like my 9-year-old is living off this lately, and it's probably not a good thing, but it's sourdough, so it's better. Homemade, still really good. Might be a weird angle, but there is nothing like fresh, buttery sourdough English muffin. All right, this was about 12 minutes. Definitely cooked through. I don't want to burn it. It'll probably deflate a little bit, just like a quiche would. So we'll just wait for this to cool down, and then I'll slice it, put it right on top of the bagels with a slice of cheese, bacon I cooked up yesterday, and wrap them up. Okay, honestly, I've never done this before. I've seen people do it on Instagram, and it looks cool, but hey, look at that. So cute. This is gonna be so lovely in the morning to have. Now we're gonna make our, healthier treat for the week, and I'm gonna make some of the, they're kind of viral Reese's eggs, but we're gonna make them high protein. So I'm gonna use 2 scoops of protein powder, a cup of peanut butter, and a tablespoon of maple syrup. And then I'm just gonna use a cookie scoop and scoop them onto a baking tray and then shape them into the shape of eggs. But you could do whatever you wanted. You could even make them like little balls, cake pops, that kind of thing if it's not Easter time for you, but I figured it'd be fun to kind of make those for the kids. Put that in the freezer for about 30 minutes. And then we've got the Hue baking chips, and you can either do these on a double boiler or slowly in the microwave and just melt them. And then we're gonna dip the frozen eggs inside of the chocolate, drizzle them with a little bit more chocolate and some sea salt, and put them back in the fridge. And then once that chocolate hardened, I just took them out and broke off any of the extra chocolate on the sides, being careful to just kind of keep the egg intact. And these ended up beautiful and so delicious. And it's really incredible how they're so much better for you than a regular Reese's egg, but they taste amazing and they just feel like such a treat. So then I just store these in the fridge until it's time to eat them. And they're a little bit bigger than a regular Reese's egg as well, so they're really filling after one, which is just perfect. So I ended up with some extra chocolate, and I was like, what am I gonna do with this? And I figured, you know what, let's just make some date peanut butter chocolate bark. So this is very similar to the stuffed dates that I've made before. You just take dates and lay them out flat. So you kind of open them up, lay them flat in between 2 pieces of parchment paper. And then I was trying to use I've seen people use a glass jar or something to flatten them, but I ended up just taking it out of the tray and using my rolling pin to flatten it. And then over the top of that, I put peanut butter, and then I poured my melted chocolate on that. And so this is a great way to use up the extra chocolate, especially if you're making the eggs too. And then I put that in the freezer, and out comes this delicious peanut butter date chocolate bark. Just peeling it right off. See the back here? That's really cool. I like how it looks. And we can just break it apart. Can we break it apart? Oh yeah. It's not breaking perfect, but some date, some peanut butter, some chocolate, some messy hands. It's delicious. Don't break your teeth. That's it for meal prep for today. If you want to check out some more meal prep inspiration, check out last week's video. It's on the screen now.